Okay, so after you've created an assessment, if you want to look at the results, you can click on your assignments. And what I really like about this, I'm going to click these little arrows here. It will minimize the drop down so you can see the names of them. But whatever I have named the assignment as, it's over here. And the last assessment that I had given to my students before going on break was the Pythagorean theorem. If you'll look, most of these are noted by the standard. And so we specifically are trying to work on remediation with our students as we have taught and assessed students over standards throughout our pacing guide. We make sure that we're reteaching and remediating those students to try to get them to standards mastery. So our last assessment that we gave was the Pythagorean theorem. And I've pushed that out to 5 classes because first period has 2 entries. Looks like maybe a kiddo joined my class after the fact, so that's 1 of 1. But this shows me the total number of students that were there on my roster, and this shows me the number of students that are graded. So have they all taken it? This is a very quick way for me to kind of look and see if they have or they have not. So when I look at my live dashboard, this shows me real time when they're in there, how they're performing. So they're not in there right now. I'm at home. This is spring break. But when they're in here, it shows you how they're answering those questions. And so if it's green, it's correct. If it's red, it was wrong. And this, since when I created this assessment, the questions were not in the same order and the answer choices were not in the same order. I was getting different live information across the board on all of these questions because some kids were answering question 12 while others are answering question 1 because they were all different. So question 1 data here is all the same question for me when looking at it, but they didn't all see it in that same order. I know that sounds confusing to say. So if it's incorrect, it's red. If it's partially correct, they got yellow. If they skipped it, it's gray. And then I can go in and manually grade these for kids as well. So if I go in and I see that a kid had a space accidentally in their answer choice and Edulastic marked it incorrect for that reason, I can override that and give them that credit if I would like. So this is a great way for me to see the performance real time while they're in there working. And it also shows me, you know, where I'm seeing kids struggle the most in just one glimpse. So my class average here was an 83, which is really good. My express grader, this will show me by student and their score. And I made this out of 100 points when I made it on purpose, but it will show me specifically each question, how many points they were given. So where they got some partial credit, that might be because there were multiple things that needed to be checked for it to be correct. And they only got partial credit if they got some correct. If I want to look at this based on the standards, I had 2 standards that were on this assessment, and these questions right here all went to this standard, and question 11 was for a different standard. And so this kind of helps me see how well they did just by that specific standard. And then I can scroll down and see that as well for my students. And this is just an awesome feature because I like to be able to see, 1, that they're working, 2, that they aren't just guessing. Like sometimes I'll see kids, they'll skip all through, it'll be grayed out, and then I'll start seeing all of a sudden they get them wrong. So they clicked through there quickly to try to answer questions they thought they knew, and then they made a decision like, I don't know it, and then they just started clicking away and just to be done with it. And so I have the capability to click and I can redirect and have them redo the assignment if I feel like I wasn't getting their best efforts. If a student is absent, this is where I would mark them absent so that it's not scored for them and marked incorrectly. I can pause a student if they get sick and they need to go to the nurse and they leave, or they signed out early. If they are done and they didn't click submit on their end, I can click here and actually submit it as well. So there's a lot of functionality for that, and so I like to be able to do all that. I like to look at the card view. I think it's easier to see that way. When I'm grading individually, I go through and I look at each question and I can see how they answered it, what they marked, and I can give some feedback to them right here directly so they get that.